this week, I am talking to Kevin Dunn.
Yes, I work at Hubspot, specifically the Hubspot Academy team. Title-wise, Senior Manager of Education.
If we want to uncover the trends and the things that you need to know about, we actually start to talk about community qualified leads, which Kevin, and I would say I agree, think is the future of marketing.
That has never been more important. I think that's going to be just absolute paramount for marketing success. I did a blog series on that. Feedback, that closed loop report from sales is critical as well. This just totality of data for the full customer journey, it's all just surfaced in a singular place in HubSpot. Spreadsheets aren't going to fit the bill there. HubSpot CRM, it's not going to have every single bell and whistle. It's free. You can get started free.
Developing communities, understanding the kind of communities that are going to benefit you, that are going to help you, is a much nicer way of thinking about things, I think, in 2023. Hey guys, and welcome to Marketing in the Madness. Do you know what? The title of this podcast, I'm not sure if it fully does it justice. So I'm gonna give you a quick couple of minutes, hopefully, on why I came up with Marketing in the Madness. So if you're joining us for the first time, hello, welcome. My name is Katie Street. I would like to think of myself as a bit of a marketing expert, but I guess I'm a bit of a life expert. I've run my own business that leads marketing strategies specifically in the marketing sector. So believe me, my clients are some of the hardest out there. I'm developing demand gen, inbound, and outreach strategies for marketing businesses. So believe me, they know what they're doing. But pre that, I have experienced a lot of craziness in my life, but I've worked both client side, I've worked for big drinks brands, I've worked for many marketing, digital, creative agencies over the last, as well as having my own agency, probably 15 odd years. And prior to that was FMCG, drinks brands, sales and marketing. And prior to that, grew up in advertising and worked for big publishing houses and was selling advertising space to marketing agencies and comms agencies. So I know my stuff, and really I hope that I will, one, bring you some of my knowledge and expertise that has helped me grow my business and helps me grow other people's businesses. But also I really want to understand and uncover how brands, people, humans exist and market their business in what is quite a crazy world, right? It has been incredibly crazy for quite a long time. The world was turned upside down amidst COVID, and that was actually when me and my business experienced the largest phase of growth that we've experienced to date. But also, the world continues to be mad. We're now amidst a recession. If you're listening to this in 2023, globally, there is, recessions going on in most countries. The world is changing constantly. Technology is progressing more quickly than ever. So when I came up with Marketing in the Madness, it was really to try and help you guys uncover some of the things that you can do to market and grow your business amidst everything that's going on. And I really hope some of the guests that I have on this podcast help you do that. So this week, I am talking to Kevin Dunn, the Senior Manager of the Hubspot Academy at HubSpot, but also the host of the HubSpot podcast, which you'll hear more about when we get chatting. At HubSpot, Kevin has a really strong track record of success. He's won lots of internal awards, one of those being the Marketing Champion Award, and he's being named to HubSpot's President's Club. So if there's someone that we want to talk to at HubSpot, one, he hosts a podcast and also talks to loads of amazing people. If we want to uncover the trends and the things that you need to know about from, I would say, one of the best marketing technology platforms out there to produce inbound marketing, today's podcast is going to be full of hints and tips. So you're going to absolutely love it, guys. And just a little secret, heads up, we're going to be talking a lot about something that someone else coined this phrase, and you'll hear about it in the podcast, but about community. And actually, I really think this is going to be a thing. We all know about marketing qualified leads. Well, hopefully we do. If you don't, I can tell you about that on another podcast. Marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads. Today, we actually start to talk about community qualified leads, which Kevin, and I would say I agree, think is the future of marketing. So without further ado, Let's go listen to the fantastic Kevin Dunn. So, hey, Kevin, I feel like this is a regular thing now. The past two Tuesdays, that's a mouthful, Kevin and I have chatted on podcasts. So last week I was on HubSpot's podcast. This week, Kevin is coming on my podcast, and we are going to talk about everything there is to know about marketing and the trends you need to be watching out for in 2023. So I'm super excited to have you with me. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy to do the second edition of what seemingly is our recurring Tuesday hold for podcast recording. So yeah, happy to get into it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm going to brand it like Talking Tuesdays. Maybe we need to do this regularly. It could become a thing, Kevin. You never know.
Yeah, right. Why not?
That's what marketing's all about, hey? Consistency. So there we go. I'm teeing myself up. But before I tee myself up to talk trends, oh my God, look at that. I've branded it, Kevin.
Just on the fly. The best marketing ideas come just organically through, just riffing on it.
Yeah, Talking Tuesday trends. I mean, I feel like I could do better than that, but there's something there. But before we get to talk trends this Tuesday, I would just love to know a little bit more, because last time we spoke, it was all about me, because you were interviewing me. So I want to know a bit more about Kevin. Tell me about your role at HubSpot and what you're doing there.
Yes. Yes, I work at HubSpot, specifically the HubSpot Academy team. Title-wise, Senior Manager of Education. But what that means, right, in layman's terms, manage and lead the teams responsible for creating our curriculum and catalog of education for our solutions partner audience, right, agency services providers, and developer audience. So front-end web development all the way through, back-end development integration with our API. So partner and developer education is my purview on the HubSpot Academy team.
But you also host a podcast.
I do. So you opened up some space for a shameless plug. Host Agency Unfiltered. It's a weekly podcast, right? Episodes every Wednesday. We interview owners, founders, executives of agencies, services providers, HubSpot partners, and just peel back the curtain on what is working to allow them to grow and scale, right? What processes are they defining or documenting? What are they operationalizing? What are they changing about their go-to-market strategies? Weekly interview series every Wednesday. Check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome. And actually, I've connected with someone else who was on the Agency Unfiltered podcast, who is going to be doing some really deep work with us more on the RevOps side of HubSpot. Yeah, not just with us, but also with our clients. So guys, if you're listening and you're in marketing and you use, or if you don't use HubSpot, go and check out the podcast, because it has really helped me, one, with ideas on how we can optimize our HubSpot, but also connecting me with awesome people that are now going to help me improve my HubSpot journey. So yeah, all is good.
Love that it's a conduit for connection. That's amazing. I would say this to your point: you don't have to be a HubSpot user or customer. That's not a gate for the podcast. We talk about a lot of HubSpot or tool agnostic things, and I don't think you have to be an agency as well, right? I think it's a lot of common problems many businesses face, right? I mean, just org chart, people management, and personnel and team development, right? Navigating changing trends and macroeconomic uncertainty and big bets and big swings. I think there's value in there. You don't have to be an agency. So check it out.
Amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's honestly, it's a great podcast, guys. You must go listen. And hopefully this podcast also is going to be filled full of fantastic marketing tips and things that you can do. And whether you are an agency or a business in the B2B space or even in the B2C space, I think today we're going to be talking about some of the key marketing trends that you should be focusing in on in 2023. So I'm coming straight to you, Kevin. I'm going straight in there. What can you tell me? What are you seeing? You are at the forefront of this for one of the leading MarTech companies in the world. What trends are you seeing from a marketing point of view that we need to be aware of?
Great question. I might just let me list off. I'm gonna just kind of like spitball a bulleted list, and then wherever you want to parse and pull out, let's do that. I think first and foremost, from a marketing perspective, 2023 and beyond, reporting, analytics, analysis, attribution of marketing activities and the impact they have on revenue, right? That has never been more important. I think that's going to be just absolute paramount for marketing success, benchmarking, right? from a marketing side, I think folks need to really be considerate of technical personas, considered buying processes, thinking about what executives or decision makers at the businesses they want to market to, right, are involved in the purchasing. I think there's a lot. It's a weird macroeconomic climate right now, and so we want to be at the forefront of catering to what those purchasing decisions now may be looking like, right? So market accordingly. I think not singularly a marketing team's responsibility, but they definitely collaborate on this. De-siloing of teams is going to be critically important, right? Connecting pull-throughs, handoffs from marketing to sales have to be solidified, documented, smooth, same as it would be from sales to a account management or services team. So de-silo, right? Build that alignment, have connected, shared data, right? A shared platform. And then lastly, it's the only thing I've been seeing on social media, but I think marketers should be thinking long and hard about how to maximize the emergence of generative AI and ChatGPT and immense ramifications to marketing activities. And so, folks should be thinking about how to maximize it, how to leverage it right now.
Oh my gosh, I have to talk to you about ChatGPT. I can't even say
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
Are you? Right. Okay. So ChatGPT. I can't even speak today. What's wrong with me?
I say, for what it's worth, I want to say GBT all the time.
Yeah.
But you have to enunciate that P. It's ChatGPT.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about saying those two things together that just doesn't work in my brain. So ChatGPT. Have you used it? Because I've actually challenged our marketing team because I went to an industry lunch last week about technology and digital for Beamer, which is one of the networks I'm very involved with in the UK. Mm-hmm. And we were talking a lot about ChatGPT. Oh my God, why can I not say it? Chat, G, that other letter, T. And actually, one of the guys sat next to me was like, I literally just wrote 5 blog posts to fill out the next month worth of content for my agency. It all came out really, really well. I literally had to do some tiny tweaks. So I've got it. I've downloaded it. I'm ready to go, but I just haven't used it yet. Have you used it? And how easy, Kevin, has it been for you to, I guess, get going with and how useful have you found it?
Yeah. So, it's absolutely a supplemental resource to a content creator's process. I don't think it's going to effectively replace a marketer. I think that's important to call. It's not going to just automate completely the content creation efforts. But the entry point to get started, very easy. I think there's a few more steps, in the way in which you frame and design and issue the prompts, right, that you put into it to maximize what you get out of it to be as helpful and relevant as possible. So there's an art there. But as a supplemental research tool or outlining tool, blog writing tool, like an enrichment tool on concepts and topics, yes, I use it. My team's experimenting with it now. Again, our lens is educational content creation, right? Curriculum development. So it's a slightly different take than maybe just marketing collateral. But yeah, it's easy to get started and it's definitely worth taking a look at.
Question for you, and excuse my naivety because I haven't used it yet, but could it, for instance, so we use a lot of transcription tools. I'm always looking at new technologies that can make our lives easier, make us work faster, help us create more valuable content for our audience more quickly at Street. So we use various different platforms that help us do that. Does it replace, or could it replace, things like Otter? I don't know if you know about Otter. So Otter basically is a transcribing tool. So basically, for instance, right now, I'm not using it right now, but I could be. I could be just on my mobile phone or on, in the back of my computer, I could be transcribing this whole conversation so that when we go and release the podcast, someone else does do this. I just don't do it live. We do it afterwards. The whole thing's transcribed. It enables us to write it up. It enables us to transcribe the whole podcast. So does it do that kind of stuff, but then improve on it? Or do you think it will start doing things like that as well?
It could, it may, it doesn't today. So the interface and the engagement with ChatGPT right now is strictly text-based. So you have to write out the request or the ask, and then it'll reply back with a text-based answer. So you couldn't upload an audio file, maybe in the future, right? But at least today, what you could do is upload a transcript or a blog or a piece of content, say, hey, could you write me a 500-word summarization, bulleting out the key talking points from that? And like, it could do something like that. But again, engagement with it has to be text-based, at least today.
Oh, well, maybe that's what we'll do with today's podcast, right? What about that for a trial? What I might do is we'll transcribe it. I mean, this is getting clever with technology and plugging different technologies together, which is what life is all about nowadays. Is maybe we will otter this, which will write the whole thing out. Then we'll give that across to ChatGPT. And I actually said it right that time. And we'll ask it to turn it into an article, and I'll publish it, and you guys can all read it and see what the difference is.
Or try and have people determine if it was even written by ChatGPT or not, and to see if there's even a discernible difference, right? But I think there's some strategy, right? It's not, hey, write me an 800-word blog post on the state of manufacturing of metal springs for whatever. You can prompt it to say, here is the intended audience, right? Here's the level of, seniority at the business we're targeting. Here's our style and tone, and here's the language you should take. You should be actionable, or give us that process granularly, step by step, and so, you can offer it some direction, right? And I think specificity yields the best results. And so definitely keep that in mind as you try and take advantage of it.
Amazing. I love it. See, I got straight into ChatGPT because it's front of mind for me at the moment. And then,
as it is for everyone, I feel like.
Last point that you made. And I'm hoping that this is still kind of relevant when the podcast goes out, because it's a few weeks after we actually record, but it will be.
Yeah, it changes so fast. Who's to say what it'll look like today, tomorrow, next week, never mind next month, next quarter. But again, the entry point is low. There's a free tier for it. It just requires an OpenAI account. Definitely, if you're a marketer, if you're responsible for content or anything, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, definitely. Everything is always worth trying. For me, we test everything on Street before we do anything for clients. So we are, a test bed of all technologies. If it works for us, we then roll it out and, test it with our clients too. And it helps us, like I say, do things more quickly, more efficiently, and hopefully better as well. So I'm going to go right back to the first point you made, which kind of ties in with the same, we're on the same subject here, is data and analytics. So you were saying how important that is, and I cannot agree with you more. If you do not understand the behaviors of your audience, if you do not understand the marketing content that's performing best for you, if you don't understand the subjects that are engaging with your audience, then you cannot make smart decisions, not just about your marketing, but you can't make smart decisions about your business. So someone who is not starting this journey, but maybe at the beginning of what should I track? What are the key metrics that I really need to understand? Are there any specific things, or is there any advice that you can give someone for, like, what should you start tracking when you're looking at your data?
Yeah, this is a very high level answer, but I think it starts with understanding those metrics, KPIs, measurements that matter to the business. It's fair to say, revenue generating, sales opportunity generation. Sure, those things should manifest, but you need to just first understand the lay of the land, what matters most to my business. And maybe that's changing annually or whatever it is, but you need to be in tune with that. And then I think in an ideal state, you should be able to connect any piece of marketing collateral or any marketing activity to its influence impact on your sales org, your sales team. And that could be leads generated, qualified leads that are ready for handoff to sales, opportunities generated, right? So open sales deals, potentially, whatever the business model is. And then obviously revenue, right? In an ideal state, all right, I did a blog series on the impact of ChatGPT for whatever my ideal client profile is. I did a blog series on that. What revenue can we attribute to that? Did that impact, did that influence, right? Any new customers, the revenue? I think that's critically important to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? You can come up with, and in fact, we were talking to a client about this today. You can come up and make sure that you're talking to the needs of your audience about the things that are, trends that are, whatever it might be. ChatGPT is today's topic of conversation that we seem to be having.
It's a very easy example in that regard, right?
But there's always these different trends, things that are coming out. Now, is that going to, like you say, deliver you the right kind of leads? It might deliver you attention, but it might deliver you attention from the wrong type of prospects, or maybe not. Maybe it will deliver you the attention from the kind of prospects that you really want for your business. So I think you really need to understand who your audience is, what they care about, and if they do care about it, can you actually talk about it with authority, and can you help them with it?
Yeah.
Because if you can't, it's kind of pointless talking about it in the first place.
You bring up a really good point in that it's one thing to say, oh, this generated 1,000 leads, but what percentage of those leads were ready to buy, ready to engage with sales? They fit the right client profile. They have the necessary criteria that a sales rep or sales team would be looking for. And so, I think one of the important metrics is that like closed loop reporting from the sales org. And so that should actually inform the content. If, man, my content, anything I write on generative AI performs really well, and I've gotten feedback from sales that it's generating the right leads in fruitful, lucrative leads, that's more important, even if there's another blog series or piece of content that's driving a higher quantity of leads, just not the right ones, right? So feedback, that closed loop report from sales is critical as well.
Yeah. And that is why, of course, I'm going to plug HubSpot. I've already talked so much about HubSpot on this podcast. So it just shows how important it is to be, because that is, data and analytics for me as a business owner and someone who heads up marketing and sales. That is my focus area for my business. And also that's what we do for clients. It is the hub of everything, and platforms like HubSpot enable us to truly understand. And if we don't track this stuff, we don't focus our time and energy on the right things. I cannot tell you how critically important it is. And the amount of people that I speak to that are still doing this stuff on spreadsheets, they're still not adopting technologies that are going to not only make their lives easier, but also enable them to make smarter decisions. So I definitely think for me, data and analytics are right up there, but make sure you're tracking the right things and the things that are going to, they're going to be easy for you to get started with, I guess, but also the things that are going to make an impact to your business quickly.
Yeah. And I think, again, biased take, I think I'm wearing the HubSpot shirt today, actually, not planned. But I think having the view across a customer's entire journey of interactions and engagements with your business isn't something that's just going to manifest in a spreadsheet, right? Every email they've been sent, opened, clicked on, every correspondence they've swapped back and forth, every page on your website they visit, and then, where they are, emails and calls and meetings from sales reps, documents that they've sent, engagements, activity with your success. Like this just totality of data for the full customer journey. It's all just surfaced in a singular place in HubSpot, right? And again, spreadsheets aren't going to fit the bill there. And I'll say this, HubSpot CRM, it's not going to have every single bell and whistle. It's free. You can get started free and start to realize some of the value, right?
Yeah. Do you know what? That's how I started with HubSpot. We used the free version for quite a while. And, sorry to tell you this, Kevin, but we plugged it in with a different marketing automation platform because we were already using, sorry, I know that's hurtful.
I'm offended.
But don't worry, we've moved over. We have moved everything over to HubSpot. And, there's so much that you can get out of that, just the free version. For me, initially, it was about the pipeline tracking. It was about me being able to see where my opportunities were in the pipeline, how long they were taking to convert, what the lead sources were, really basic stuff, but that has powered me to make the right decisions about the kind of marketing content we go on to create. And, for instance, doing this podcast being one of those things, because it's given me so many insights. We're able to have that single customer view. I can see what webinars of ours they've attended, what events they've attended, which subjects they've engaged in, what, I guess their time from lead through from MQL through to SQL is.
Where was their origination? Where did they come from?
Exactly. And sometimes it is really hard to track because we do have, although we have everything hooked up, sometimes, because we create so much content, they're like, oh, you can see it looks like they've come from the webinar, but maybe they already watched loads of our content on LinkedIn before.
Right.
You can't.
There's some shadow activities that you're never going to get some of those, Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But on the whole, we know where our audience live, we know where they engage, and we know what they're interested in because we started tracking it and we keep a very close eye on it. It's super important as my business grows, and it helps me make massive changes in my business. Like I said, not just from a marketing perspective, but actually, we spotted trends with new sector or slightly new sectors. So we've actually started working with a lot of people like HubSpot, MarTech companies.
Mm-hmm.
So we now, as well as working with agencies, we work with a lot of MarTech businesses. We've worked with quite a few pharma businesses in the B2B space who need that kind of demand gen service that we provide. So it's been really interesting. We can spot trends, people that we wouldn't know are engaging with our content if I didn't have a platform like HubSpot in place. So that really helps me look at markets and new sectors that are, that care about what we're talking about. So I can go, actually, maybe I should talk more to them and create some more bespoke content for them. Or maybe I should create a new division, or maybe we change, who we are as a business. So it's super, super important. So data, I totally am with you. Now, next one, which I think was your second point, which is also so important, is understanding what your audience are looking for. So where do you start? How do you understand who your audience are and what their needs are?
Yeah, the asterisk here is starting with customers that you already have, right? Like, all right, you're a business and you've been able to successfully, bring on new customers or clients, whatever it might be. And I think putting a mirror and reflecting on what do our best customers do? What went into that purchasing decision? Where do they see the most value from my product or from my service? What are their challenges? What are their pain points? How do those evolve over time? It's like deep understanding and empathy, right, with those ideal customers that you're looking to attract and engage with via your marketing collateral, right? And then I think the secondary lens of that, understanding all of that in totality, of course, breadth and depth. But I think it's just purchasing is going to be slower. Just generally, I think it's going to be slower. I think it's going to be more of a considered buying purchase. I think more people, what are the IT ramifications? What are the financial ramifications of making these investments? It's going to be a much more considered, slow purchasing decision for a lot of businesses. And so how can you get in front of that and actually fold those personas within your ideal customers? How can you fold them into your marketing collateral? How can you attract, hey, what is the CFO's 6 questions a CFO of this company should be asking when determining a marketing services agency or something like that? Like, cater to knowing that the buying processes are going to be more involved, considered, and likely slower. So.
Yeah, so true. Gosh, you've got me thinking about so many different things that I need to do at Street now. Thanks, Kevin. You're making me really busy.
Yeah, we can just riff on your stuff too, right?
Yeah, I've got loads of questions I want to ask you. So the final point, which wasn't the final point because it was the third point, but then we got chatting on ChatGPT, was about de-siloing. So this was one of the other marketing trends that you chatted about, but actually I think probably spans more wider, that's bad English, isn't it? More wider? I'm going to say more wider because my brain can't get around and saying anything else yet today. So that kind of de-siloing and making sure that everything's connected. Why is that important?
Well, I think customers, consumers, leads, probably just human beings, anytime we're interacting with a business, if I'm just on an email, a newsletter subscription, or if I'm actually, engaging actively in a sales process, my expectation is that they have what they need to cater to, personalize, and have the necessary context for their engagement with me, right? The content I receive via email should align with what I've said I do or am interested in and learning more about, etc. Sales rep should have context of the touch points prior to this meeting, right? I mean, if you go to the doctor's office, you would hope your doctor has the notes from the nurse or the notes from your previous visit. And I think marketers should be thinking about it the same way, right? And so to offer that context to help personalize, deeply personalize, right, these touch points, you have to de-silo and make those touch points, those interactions, that data available across teams, right? So all those marketing interactions, all those data points, everything we've collected from the marketing side have to pull through and become available for sales reps and beyond and beyond. So that's kind of the framing, the justification for, de-siloing.
Yeah, one team, guys. And do you know what, that traditionally, obviously one that I've been heavily involved with is sales and marketing, and battles, at larger businesses, battles between sales and marketing teams not working together, sales going, marketing aren't giving me what I need, and marketing going, sales are rubbish. They're not converting all these leads that we're creating for them. So breaking down those barriers, and the same goes across operations, client teams, production, tech teams, whatever it might be, breaking down those silos. I think, as we head into 2023, we live and I guess operate in a much more open, I hope, world where we try to understand each other a lot better maybe than we did previously. So I think breaking down those walls, no, not just physically, but literally, we really have to do that in order for businesses to work and, be as brilliant as we possibly can be.
And, we talk about the data points and like pulling through the information in the context. But I think de-siloing also hinges on having processes documented. And so when a lead reaches this point, it meets this criteria, it'll be delivered to a sales rep in this way, in this format, and then the sales rep will engage with it initially as X, right? Like prescribe that process, right? It's not just the handoff of data, but it's confirming and agreeing to and adhering to, what the handoff process in totality looks like, right?
Love this. So good. So good. So I now want to get into your HubSpot brain because, of course, as you said, with your role, you're basically working for one of the leading MarTech platforms in the world. What are you guys focused on? What do you see as the successful marketing tools or the tactics that you guys use? Because I'm going way back when. Every time I Google anything, it's to do with marketing or solutions or how to develop a value proposition, how to, get more marketing reach. HubSpot, you're up there, guys, every single time. And you are the inbound platform. That's what you're known for. And you have a whole conference. Do you still do the inbound conference?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You do.
Yeah,
but virtually not physically anymore.
Actually, as of 2022, the previous inbound last September, we brought back in person. And so folks can come back into Boston, unbiased, greatest city in the world, and see and learn and engage at inbound in person. For sure. It's back.
Amazing. Love that. I need to make sure that I'm there for 2023, waiting for my personal invite, obviously, Kevin. So in terms of the trends that you guys are seeing, where are you focusing your efforts in order to reach your audience and engage them?
Yeah. So I'll preface it with this. Hubspot Academy, within the HubSpot, the larger org chart at HubSpot, we sit on the community-led growth team. And so having a dedicated team called community-led growth, I think indicates fairly well where we're going and what we're trying to do. And so I think to now parse that out, I think there's power in leveraging and building and creating space for a community to happen, like organic community, right? Community happens when those involved organically build and foster relationships. It's not just top-down facilitation from the business, right? And so HubSpot Academy, right? We have free courses. We issue credentials, certifications. And so we want to create the space for those prepping for an exam or recently certified, right? There's a community built around HubSpot Academy. We're offering cohort-based boot camps for folks to learn together if that's what they would prefer to do. And then there's expansion of just our community, both forums and internet and social proof, and learn from each other and see how people are applying concepts or the tools, right? Again, organically. Creating like micro communities within. We have this dedicated space for partners. There's dedicated channels and spaces for web developers, right? And then I think kind of the other bullet on that is event, right? HubSpot user groups, things like inbound. And not only just things at inbound, but finding space for communities like Black at inbound, I thought had the greatest space on the inbound floor yesterday. And so finding opportunities to expand or determine communities within, right? It's not just, the HubSpot community. There's a lot of different ways to think more strategically about it and more aligned with the personas within that community. And so anyways, events, academy is an important lever for us to pull clearly. And then creating the space online, virtual, asynchronous, synchronous, in person, et cetera. But finding places to organically build the conduit between folks in that community.
Yeah, so true. And I always think about it as someone told me not to use the word audience the other day. And I do use that word a lot, but it is community makes a lot more sense. And actually, I am part of lots of amazing communities. And in fact, I'm speaking on a webinar for one of them tomorrow. Like I just said, I was at a Beamer community event last week. The connections that I make at those, I invest time in these communities and they give back to me. And actually have you guys heard of Guild?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Ashley, who founded Guild, he also founded eConsultancy. The team there have coined the phrase, and I don't know if you've heard of this. I don't know if they've trademarked it, but I need to get them on the podcast because we kept trying to get a date in and it hasn't happened. Yeah. So I am going to make it happen. They have coined the phrase CQL, Community Qualified Lead. Or they certainly have spoken to they've certainly spoken to me about it. And we were going to do a whole podcast episode on it. So it's reminding me that I need to do that. Because actually, the Guild platform, you can go on, you can set up your community. Mm-hmm. It's like with anything, like with marketing, you've got to continually show up, right? Set it up and don't speak on it and never communicate in it and don't, become your community or give to your community, and it's not going to work for you from a marketing or sales point of view. If you show up, mm-hmm. It certainly is. So I love that, developing communities, understanding the kind of communities that are going to benefit you, that are going to help you, is a much nicer way of thinking about things, I think, in 2023 than audience. It's more about community. I love that.
Yep. Yeah, I think kind of another way to think about it. Yes, there's no such don't use audience. It's like, hey, I'm a person, not a persona. I forget where that was coined or who said it, but that's basically it, right? And I think communities are going to allow learning and connection to happen in pockets that you yourself aren't subject matter experts in, right? I mean, if you look at the dedicated solutions partner community, right, agencies and partners of HubSpot. What project management tools do you all use, or how do you think about, or where do you find and source the right talent, or how do you build a culture deck for your website? Those are the types of conversations that I don't think are going to happen organically or to provide value for those folks unless it's in a community like that, right?
Yeah, trusted communities as well. Like I said, you've got to keep showing up in order to become a trusted person within that community, and you've got to make an effort to keep showing up. And it's really making me think, Kevin, about the tactics that we deploy this year, because we obviously have the podcast, which I talk at people. But what we're missing this year, because we stopped doing the webinar, but we are starting to do live events again, is that kind of community feel. So I know what I'm going to be talking to my marketing team about tomorrow after our chat today. It's about how do we show up, and become more present in our communities again, because we're very good at showing up in other people's, and I will continue to do that. But I think it's really important if you can, it's got to be valuable if you can create your own community. That is the best place to be, because it just delivers such high quality leads and opportunities from people that really trust you because you've been engaging with them in a much more giving way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, whether or not a business decides to, all right, it's time to build a community, right? Based on our users, our customers, our clients, whatever. I think you should also seek out and find communities that already exist that you yourself could be a member of, or get involved in. Be part of the discourse and the conversation that happens within, right? Quick plug for customereducation.org, right? Community for customer education professionals. HubSpot Academy teammates of mine and myself are in there, and just learning how others are thinking about certification programs and building education from scratch and their tech stacks. And so, yes, if the opportunity is there, consider building one, right, for your folks, but also seek out and join those that may already exist.
Yeah, love that, Kevin. Now, do you know what? You've given me a really good idea for what I'm going to ask every single one of my guests moving forward from this day forward to do as I end the podcast is, can you recommend a community for our listeners to go and check out and go and join or go and take part in? What is the best community that you can recommend to our lovely listeners today?
It reminds me, not a direct answer to your question, but it's like, it's the new way to ask, like, oh, what book are you reading right now? Right? It's what community are you participating in right now? Well, listen, I think there's a number. I can think about it both through the framing of HubSpot and not. There's a HubSpot admin user group going on right now that I'm seeing a ton of engagement and activity and passion within. HubSpot Academy's own Kyle Jepson is a major driving force of that. But pulling together those that are responsible for administrating and maintaining and troubleshooting HubSpot as a platform, that admin community is growing. It's going great. And then again, ones that I joined that I'm in that aren't necessarily HubSpot specific. Again, customereducation.org has been an immensely valuable resource for me. There's also partnership leaders, right? Again, kind of my team's purview is partner education for Academy. And so getting a sense of and learning from others in partnerships, SaaS partnerships, for example, also another great community.
I love that. Kevin, thank you so much. Will you please, pretty please, share those links with me so I can pop all those community groups into the show notes?
Absolutely.
Obviously, especially the HubSpot ones, but all of them. I'll make sure we pop into the show notes so you lovely lot listening to us today can go and check them out. But it just leaves me to say thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me. I've taken loads away from today, especially around community-led growth, which I'm going to go in action. Do you know what? The best and the worst thing about me doing this podcast is it gives me loads of things that I need to do. And I just now, I don't know, need to double myself to go and do them. So a huge thank you. It's been really valuable and I've absolutely loved chatting to you today.
Yeah, the easy part's building the list of things you want to do in action. The hard part is, okay, where in the world is the bandwidth and capacity going to be to do all those things? So best of luck on your journey from here. But yeah, I mean, and of course, thanks so much for having me on. Love talking about this stuff. It's been a lot of fun. So I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thanks, Kevin. Hey guys, me again. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast as much as I did. And look, we are a new podcast, so I'm going to be a bit beggy. I'm going to be a bit annoying because I need you to take action. 2 things I would love you to do today. If you've listened and you've enjoyed the podcast, please go and head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review and tell me or tell us what you loved. Also, if you can hit that little subscribe button so that future episodes download and you get notified when an episode goes live, because we are going to be coming at you every single week. Please do that because that will help with our downloads and that will help me attract even bigger and better guests. And last but not least, 3 asks. Sorry, I did trick you there. Also, pop me an email. Very, very happy to connect with any of you on LinkedIn. So my name is Katie Street, Katie Street, Katie Street. You can find me on Instagram, Streetmate. It's that easy. Or pop me an email to katie@street.agency. I want to build this podcast around the things you want and need to know about to grow your business and to grow your marketing reach. So pop me a message, connect with me whenever you want, wherever you want, and I'm going to make this podcast the best podcast that you have ever listened to, the most helpful podcast that you have ever listened to, and fill this podcast with the best guests that are going to really help you scale your marketing. So there we go. Mic drop. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope that you come back and listen again very, very soon.